Okay, good day once again. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I am Joseph Altieri with Metrix Learning. I'm joined today by two very innovative workforce development board directors, Cathy Rychalsky from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and Kevin Kurdziel from Middlesex County, New Jersey. And today we'd like to talk about virtual career services offered through the Metrix Learning platform and how Cathy and Kevin are using them in their respective communities through the SkillUpAmerica program. So we're going to have time at the end, plenty of time at the end for questions. So for now, if you could make sure that your phone is muted and your computer microphone is muted so we can't hear everyone while we're going through this. At the end, we'll open everything up and everyone can ask questions. With that, I'd like to get started. So let's touch briefly on the current environment. So I think most would agree that we're in uncharted waters here. We've had over 25 million people file their initial unemployment claims over the last several weeks. And this morning's estimate put that number over 30 million. Economic indicators are predicting that once the economy restarts, we can expect these high unemployment figures to last months, if not years. So compounding matters. You know, your career centers, unfortunately, as you're painfully aware, social distancing has resulted in the temporary closure of many of the centers, and job seekers have now been forced to turn to the internet for many of the career services they used to be able to receive in person. So for those of you not familiar with Metrix Learning, we are a workforce development company working primarily with workforce boards and departments of labor to provide virtual career services to the unemployed and underemployed members of their communities. Our Metrix Learning platform was developed specifically for workforce boards and departments of labor. We've had over 250,000 learners across 15 states complete over 1.5 million training hours on our platform, although this last month has seen significant spike there. We offer customized solutions, whether it's for a specific population demographic, such as those on reentry or out-of-school youth, or a specific industry, such as transportation, something that may be important to the particular community, whether it's manufacturing or even customer service help. Probably about 4.5 years ago now, we launched our SkillUpAmerica program. Traditionally, licenses to Metrix had to be purchased individually, so a group would come in and say buy 100 licenses to the platform. Now, our workforce board customers can purchase an unlimited number of Metrix licenses at a fixed cost. That allows them also not only to save money, but we're also able to extend Metrix services to their community partners with no additional cost. And very recently, we've completed our integration with Geographic Solutions and their virtual one-stop platform. So our Metrix Learning platform was designed and built with WIOA requirements in mind. The platform offers over 6,000 courses. Soft skills, IT, and business courses are offered through Skillsoft. This is the world's leader in e-learning delivery. They're used by the majority of the Fortune 500 companies to train their own employees. Plus, we have healthcare content through Medcom. There are multilingual options there, so we have many courses in Spanish and Mandarin Chinese. Also, every course is closed captioned, so they can be translated into any language that Google Translate will translate into. We have integrated over 900 Connects to Prove It assessments into the platform. We also offer 10 career pathways representing over 200 in-demand occupations, training for over 100 industry certifications. We offer integrated job search functionality that defaults to Indeed.com, but it can be changed out to a state or local job board. We offer skill assessment and skill gap remediation, which we'll talk a little bit more about as we go forward. We also offer robust customizable reporting options, so a case manager can see exactly when their customer has logged in what courses they're taking, exactly how long they've spent on the courses, how they've scored, and if they've passed. All of that can be exported out into Excel and massaged however it's needed. It's also available 24/7 from anywhere with internet access, so customers can learn at their own pace and on their own schedule. And just before I introduce our first guest, can everyone just make sure that your phones or microphones are muted? We're getting a good deal of feedback from someone's microphone. So if I could, I'd like to hand things over to Cathy Rychalsky. Cathy's a director of the Lancaster County Workforce Development Board and is going to share a bit about how her county is leveraging Metrix and the SkillUp platform. So with that, I'll hand it over to Cathy.
Thank you, Joe. And we always know when someone is not from Lancaster because they say Lancaster. And I'm really excited to be here. I like to always start off with a quiz. We're going to do a little history today. And the first person that can answer this correctly through chat, and Joe and Christine from Metrix Learning will be providing me with the details of who that is. We'll be shipping out a little bit of things that we enjoy here in Lancaster. It will not include horse manure. But we do have some really cool things that happen here in Lancaster that people don't necessarily realize, and we'd like to share a little bit of that. So Pennsylvania has had a number of different locations that have served as our capital, and we've given you a couple options of which county listed here has not housed Pennsylvania's capital since our inception as the Commonwealth. So our for Philadelphia, Lancaster, Dauphin, or Chester. So if you would mind entertaining us fairly quickly, Joe and Christine will let us know who gets that question right first, and we'll collect some information from you shortly. All right, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and I saw that Brendan from Albany answered it first, but
what did he ask?
But I know who he is, so I don't think I can allow him to have it. Now, he actually answered it before the question was read. So should we let him have it? I guess that would be what
what did he answer?
He went with C.
That's not correct.
Uh-oh. Okay. So it's not C. Everybody's going with
it's not.
Oh, Jill. Jill got D. Chester County?
Jill is our winner.
All right, Jill.
All right, Joe, we'll be collecting some information. Joe will collect some information from you, and we'll send you out a little care package from Lancaster County. I hope you'll enjoy. All right, do you want to take us to the next slide, Joe? Great. All right, so I just want to share a little bit about Lancaster County because a lot of folks do think of us as just horse and buggy Amish country, and while we do have a lot of that here in Lancaster, Lancaster is pretty unique. We are recognized as both the best place to retire in the United States, as well as one of the coolest or cutest cities, small towns and coolest cities in the United States. So we have this unique group of folks that are retiring, and then this younger group of folks that want to come and enjoy all that we have to offer. But as a part of that, that makes things a little challenging around being able to provide what our younger generation is looking for. We have a lot of bricks and mortar college, university type offerings. And when I had the opportunity to meet with these great folks from Metrix, we looked at our demographics and looked at how can we start to move along with the things that have been in place for quite some time, and that's some virtual learning. So we know in Lancaster, 86% of our homes have computers. About 77% of those have access to the internet. And with the layout of Lancaster County, although most people not look at us as rural, we do have a large number of folks that live in what would be rural areas of Lancaster where buses or public transportation are not available, and they are not easily able to get to social services, or to libraries, but would like to engage in some learning. So we have just under 500,000 individuals in our community, with a pretty high actually poverty rate when compared to our Commonwealth. So in talking with our friends here at Metrix, we looked at how can we engage people back into a learning environment, and do so at a place where when they can access information and learn, and how they can access information and learn and where doesn't matter. So in meeting with these guys, we have been able to launch a Skill Up Lancaster initiative with our partners here. And it has been probably one of the things that has just excited our schools, has excited our business community, has excited our local delegation. And in so much as we have our Lancaster Society for Human Resource Management partnering with our schools and identifying coursework that our high school students engage in, earn a business recognized credential that says businesses identified these courses, individuals who go through our educational system and take them, they have learned the essential or the soft skills that businesses are looking for folks coming into the workforce. So we have this great partnership there. Then we have folks that have been, who are single parents or who can't leave their home for whatever reason. We can provide access to the Skill Up Lancaster platform, and they can engage in a learning opportunity. We don't look at it necessarily to replace our bricks and mortar. It's really a complement. So if someone hasn't been in school for quite some time, they may be able to engage in this process, gather some of the skills. We'll talk about some of the things that are offered through this, and then be ready to get moved into a classroom. We may have businesses who have individuals that they'd like to upskill, and through our partnership, we're able to look at an opportunity to engage groups of folks with a business to do some upskilling. So our map, and you can see we are pretty unique. We have a lot of different people that are engaging in this from different capacities. And one of the best things I could ever say about Metrix, and I would say this if they were not on the phone or on this webinar with us, is they have been extremely flexible. And our community is going to be very different from your community, and your community is going to be different than Kevin's community, who's coming up next. But what Metrix has been able to do is really customize it to work for what we're doing here locally. You also see we're a welcoming city. So Lancaster is fortunate enough to have a number of folks that come here as refugees and migrate here. And as a result, we've had to utilize different languages. And in doing so, we've also partnered with our intermediate unit and provided some of these courses as an integrated education and training model. So if we have folks, which we do, who come here from another country, they may have come with a medical background. We know their credentials aren't transferring. We can bring them in with the Skill Up program, with an integrated education and training program, and give them the opportunity to take those medical skills they have, bring them over to the States, and actually then engage into the workforce. So it's been just a great partnership, and another way we've been able to use this. I'm good, thank you. I'm passed down. So in Skill Up Lancaster, what happens is someone could go on and just Google the Skill Up Lancaster portal, and if I'm a job seeker, they would click on and they see the different options available to them. Or as an employer, they can also go and they have their own area where it would pass off to. So this is our portal. When somebody goes in, they can take a look, they can play around, they sign themselves up, we give them a 6-month license. They can always renew should they need to, but it's a very self-serving, simple way of getting on to the system and starting to run through the options available to them. So you'll see here then, this is the registration. So if I go on as a job seeker, I'm sorry, it's probably a little hard to see. you'll see all the content that someone's going to fill in. And then one of the things that's worked very well for us here in Lancaster is when we first looked at this as an option, we talked to our board of directors, and then we brought in community partners. And in Lancaster, we're fortunate enough to have about 1,500 nonprofits, not to include libraries and schools and others. But as a part of that, we talked about, and our friends at Metrix demonstrated what this system could do for our community. And you can see some of the partners that we have here, from our libraries to our community action programs to our museums and our science factory. Some of our universities are partners in this. And so through this process, we continue to expand, and people who may not be connected to our system, the CareerLink system, can certainly find opportunities like this through one of our other community partners. And it's been a really good initiative and great partnership to really launch across the community. Okay, and because I can keep talking, we probably should pass to the next one or we'll never get questions. So then very quickly, what we'll talk about here is what the system then does. So if you are a job seeker, you go in, you're going to register, you're going to have the opportunity to look at the different career pathways. I believe we have 10 of them right now. And you're going to do a self-assessment. It doesn't take very long, but through that, then you'll see the different industries that are available to you through the SkillUp portal. You can look at IT, healthcare, finance. We have some others that are available, and identify which occupations within those industries are things that you want to explore further and see how your skills, your current skills, align with the needs in those occupations. And from that skill assessment, then the program rates your skill level to what the employers have identified as the need, and then it will recommend courses that you would take to close the skills gaps that exist in those areas where we may need to address some of the gaps that might be there. So you can see kind of the chart here that shows us in this particular case what that would look like for an individual who's gone through a career pathway self-assessment. Joe, I don't know if you're speaking, but I can't hear you, buddy.
That was me. Yeah, so thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We're going to we'll bring Cathy back for some question and answer towards the end. Right now, I'd like to introduce Kevin Kurdziel. Kevin is the director of the Middlesex County Workforce Development Board and another very innovative workforce leader. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Joe. Good afternoon to everybody. Unless you're on the West Coast, then good morning. It's my pleasure to be here. And I, first of all, want to thank the folks at Metrix for inviting me to participate on this webinar along with Cathy and along with the Metrix staff. And I hope everybody out there is remaining safe and healthy during this unprecedented time in our nation. So it's just a great pleasure to be able to speak to everyone today and just give you a little overview of how SkillUp has been tremendously valuable to us, especially during this time. But before I do that, I want to just give you a little background about Middlesex County and tell you geographically where we're located, just to kind of put things into perspective. So we are considered to be located geographically in central New Jersey, although if you were, and there's always been debate about what central New Jersey really is or where it's located. And if you were to look geographically, actually the center of New Jersey is someone's backyard in a town called Jackson, New Jersey, which is in Ocean County, a couple counties away from us. So I like to look at Middlesex County as being the gateway to central New Jersey. And we're geographically located in between New York and Philadelphia, almost equal distance between both cities. And so we have one of the most diverse counties, identified as one of the most diverse counties in the country. We have many different languages spoken here and many different cultures that are represented. within Middlesex County. One of our largest employers is Johnson & Johnson. So many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with Johnson & Johnson. And also we're home to Rutgers University. Probably if there's any football fans out there, I'm sure there's not too many Rutgers fans. But anyway, they are located here and actually located right down the road from our Career One Stop Center in New Brunswick, New Jersey. The other, I guess, thing to note with Middlesex County is that it's the only place in the state of New Jersey where the Garden State Parkway and New Jersey Turnpike intersect, which is exit 11 on the New Jersey Turnpike. So if you are ever traveling through New Jersey and you hit that interchange on the Turnpike, you are in Middlesex County. The other notable exit on the Turnpike from Middlesex County is 8A, which has become an internationally renowned corridor for transportation, logistics, and distribution. So again, if you're traveling down the Turnpike, you will, as you're passing exit 8A, see a multitude and a plethora of warehouses and transportation and distribution facilities. So I think Cathy really hit on a lot of good points in terms of the functionality of SkillUp and how it can be used. And I want to talk a little bit more on what our return on investment has been with SkillUp and why we decided to start using this platform almost 3 years ago. So if I were to present any sort of innovation, and I consider using SkillUp in the workforce area in innovation, if I were to present that to my county administrator, the first thing that he often asks is, well, what is the value proposition of this? And so I think that there are many value propositions that SkillUp brought to our local workforce investment area. Namely, it has really raised the profile of our career one-stop services. When I became director here almost 6 years ago, one of the things that I noticed almost immediately was most people that lived in Middlesex County really didn't understand what the Career One-Stop Centers did, what kind of services we provided, and even most people didn't know where we were located. So by us implementing SkillUp Middlesex back in October of 2017, it really gave people an opportunity to really look into what we do and the services that we provide, and they could do it through SkillUp Middlesex through the comfort of their own homes. One of the things that we also use SkillUp for is we use it as an economic development tool. As many of you probably know, there's a lot more synergy now between economic development and workforce development. So we can use, and we have used SkillUp to basically demonstrate to businesses either who are looking to expand within our county or move to our county that we have a qualified workforce because we have people in our communities using SkillUp Middlesex and using it to enhance their skills. The other thing that it helps us to do is also helps us, especially now in the current climate, is to provide welfare to work customers, or people who are receiving TANF services and have to be in work programs. This provides them with a tool to use remotely, so they can go on and do classes from the comfort of their own home, or perhaps a library or somewhere else where they have access to computer. So in a situation like this, it's working very well for us. But also, even during normal times, it gives the opportunity for these customers to also be able to continue doing work outside of coming into the Career One-Stop Centers and sitting in classes. The other great thing that we use SkillUp Middlesex for is to prepare individuals for enrollment into ITAs. So before we place somebody into an ITA, there are certain either soft skills that that individual might need, or let's say they need to enhance computer skills like Microsoft Office or learning other computer-based programs. They can log on to SkillUp and then enhance those skills before they go into ITA training, and then use those skills that they learn in context of the training they go into. One of the big things about SkillUp Middlesex that it's really done for our local workforce area, and this ties into what I talked about raising the profile of our Career One-Stop Services, it has really created a brand for our local workforce area. So people may not talk about the one-stop centers necessarily, but they do talk about SkillUp. And so what we've done is we've really used it as a tool to market our services and to create that brand across the county. And one of the things that we are looking to do this year is to create what we are going to call our SkillUp connection sites, which, for lack of a better term, would really be one-stop centers located within the community. So satellite one-stop services and locations where we will be able to provide people with services in the community. And so by calling them SkillUp connection sites, people already make that connection, no pun intended, to our services and to the one-stop centers. And another thing that really, I think, helps us at the local level is that Skill Up Middlesex provides talking points for our elected officials. When our county elected officials go out to speak to constituents, they can use Skill Up as an example of some of the services that are available to county residents free of charge. And so it also demonstrates the ability of our workforce, local workforce area to access or to provide access to services to people within the community without having to leave their homes. So that's been also something that our local elected officials really have been happy about and have really had positive feedback on. The other thing that I want to speak about is this is highly cost effective for us. Basically, for us to do this is really taking the money, some of the money that we would provide for individual training accounts and set aside just the amount of money it would cost to, let's say, train 5 people to pay for this platform on a yearly basis. And so it really gives us the ability to serve more people at a much less rate per user, and again gives us the ability to do it at a convenience where people can do it from wherever they're at, and they can even use their smartphones, which is a great resource as well. And then again, finally, I want to wrap up my segment by talking about the marketing that we've done around this. So this tool, Skill Up Middlesex, is only as good as you getting the word out. If you don't get the word out, and we've had counties here in New Jersey that have used Metrix services before, and they have said, well, we didn't have many customers using it. I'm like, well, how did the customers know about it? Well, when a person came in, our career counselors told them about it. And while that might be good, word of mouth is always good, we decided that we were going to make a commitment much from the onset of using Skill Up to really market this. And so we've put out tons of marketing materials on your screen there. You see one of the flyers that we've put out. We've put out rec cards. I've had the opportunity to appear on local cable television with our chief elected official to talk about this. I've been on the radio, and we've really saturated the market here in our local area to get the word out about Skill Up. And so if any of you are there interested in Metrix services and using a Skill Up platform, you really have to make a commitment to marketing it as well and getting the word out to your community, because without doing that, it's almost like hiding a great service that you have and not letting people know that you have it. So I would just like to reiterate again that marketing the services, and I know Cathy does a great job marketing services, and hopefully I'm saying this right, Lancaster, and and in other counties that have been using Skill Up throughout the country. I know everybody has been really focusing on marketing, and that's really the key to it. And especially now with COVID-19, this has allowed us the opportunity to see an increase, as Joe alluded to when he started out the webinar, that this is a way for us to see more people, serve more people, and we've seen an increase in the people registering for services via Skill Up and via the Metrix platform. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Joe. And again, everybody stay safe and healthy out there. And I look forward to answering any questions along with Cathy that any of you participants may have for us.
Great. Thank you so much, Kevin. So how effective is Metrix? We've heard a bit about it, but as far as the effectiveness, our Metrix customers perform 15 to 20% better in the 3 common measures. And also through a 10-month study with the New York State Department of Labor, 70% of Metrix customers entered employment within the year after receiving services, much higher than the state average. So every course that someone completes through the Metrix platform comes with a free printable certificate of completion. This certificate shows the person's name, the date the course was taken, the name of the course, and comes with the learning provider's logo. So it'll be Skillsoft along with the workforce board. We tell customers to take these with them to interviews. They're very effective at showing what they've been doing since they've been out of work. What have you been doing the last couple months? Well, I took courses in leadership through Skillsoft. I took Excel courses, project management courses. It's all in there. So we collect those and bring them with you in your job search. Also, we're able to help workforce boards increase their certifications cost effectively. So our system is able to mitigate cost of someone entering thinking that they'd be interested in a industry recognized certification in project management, going through a couple classes and then deciding, you know, this really isn't for me and dropping out. We're able to mitigate those costs through our platform. And I wanted to share with you a little bit about how we're working with our customers during the current crisis. So the Career Centers have placed the flyer on the left in their Career Center windows. They posted it on their websites. They've sent it out to customers via email blast. The flyer lets people know that Metrix is available to the job seekers in their community. Even though the Career Center may be temporarily closed, those job seekers can spend the time at home upgrading their skills or even pursuing an industry recognized certification if they have interest there while waiting to return to work. Tells a little bit about what we're offering through the program as well. So the one pager on the right-hand side of the screen was sent to our Workforce Development Board customers, letting them know how they can leverage Metrix during this time as well. And also let them know that we're going to continue to share with them as we develop new support material, such as new flyers that they can email out to customers, put together for those career centers where they would have an orientation, an in-person orientation. We've put together a virtual orientation that they can show to their customers. Customers can view it from home. Also, we've started a weekly Q&A webinar session. Everyone who logs into the Metrix platform on the landing page at the top of the screen, it shows there's a link there with information to the weekly Q&A session. There's a go-to meeting where they can meet with Metrix staff and ask any questions that they may have on the platform. And we've also put together some customizable public service videos. I want to show one now. It's only about 59 seconds long.
Communities across the country are facing unprecedented challenges due to the coronavirus. Millions of Americans are losing jobs as businesses struggle to generate revenue. The majority still working are doing so from home. As history has shown with previous crises, we will pull through this together. Our career centers are here to help you prepare now for the eventual economic turnaround. With a large portion of our community expected to be home for the next several months, we're extending access to the SkillUp program to our unemployed residents and local employers. SkillUp offers the opportunity to update your existing job skills, learn new skills, and even pursue an industry-recognized certification as you prepare to head back to work. The program provides access to over 5,000 courses, training for over 100 certifications, and is accessible from anywhere with internet access 24/7. If you're interested, please visit this site for more information.
So that was one we put together for Southwest Florida. But it can be customized, and we are, as I said, as someone else, we are pretty nimble. We can put things together pretty quickly if things are needed, if you were interested in a video or something along those lines. So with that, we'd like to thank you so much for your time today. We'll open things up to questions. I see we have a good number of questions in the chat, so we can address those as well. If we have no questions coming in audibly, I can start reading the questions in the chat.
I have an audible question.
Sure.
What are the implications for the ETPL as far as Title I enrolled customers?
So I'll answer that. So Metrix is actually on the ETPL in New Jersey, and I believe in a lot of other states, and I'm sure Joe can speak about that. So for us, that hasn't been an issue because we can enroll people into courses that Metrix has identified on the ETPL. Yes, and when it obviously, if it is requested, we certainly do. We go ahead and apply to be added to the ETPL for your particular state.
Thank you.
Sure. So I had a question on here, Kevin, from Jennifer German. Are you treating the expenses as an ITA expense?
Yes. So we're charging the expenses both to our adult and dislocated worker lines. I believe we also use a little out of our youth funding as well. So yes, it is. And we've already been through audits with the New Jersey Department of Labor, as well. And then we can also use the people that are not in any sort of ITA programs or anything else, as we can identify them as reportables for Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. So when we report on that, it shows that we're serving people in addition to those that we place into training programs.
Great. So I had another question here about are SkillUp learners self-registering, or do they have to go to the centers? So through SkillUp itself, again, that's the unlimited access model. They're able to virtually register from anywhere with internet access to enter into the program. Some of our centers that are still using the per license model want to have the ability to actually approve and assign those licenses themselves. So it can be done either way in that instance. So they can come in and you can choose, if maybe they only want healthcare content, you can just assign the healthcare license versus a SkillSoft license. So that is up to the center how they want to run that.
Questions about ETPL I see here, California, maybe a couple of other states. So it really depends on your state and their requirements for training providers. I know certain states have more intensive requirements requiring brick and mortar or classroom-based training. So we're not on ETPL in all states, but we can certainly take a look on your state if it is a possibility for us. I can tell you right now we are not on California's ETPL list. We are working with the EDD to get on the list, but for now we're not on that yet. And then for counting as training as well, if you are using ETPL or not, Joe mentioned in the beginning, Metrix is a virtual career service. So under WIO, we can start with reportable individuals just as a career service. And then for those participants that move into that training status, they can then be counted for those credentials to the certifications that we provide in Metrix that they can attain. So then you can count that as a credential earned.
Great, thanks, Christine. So are there any other questions? So if there is interest and you would like to reach out to us, you see that we have the email addresses there on the screen, or you can just go to the Metrix Learning website and contact us. The invitations that were sent out also contained an invite, contact us. I'm sorry, so you have the information is right there. Thank you again. Keep doing all the amazing work that you all do. Obviously, everybody appreciates it. And please, if there's anything we can answer, we will. And if anybody wants a copy of the presentation, absolutely shoot me an email or just shoot an email to info@metrixlearning.com and we'll get that out to you. So thank you all so much today.
Thanks, Joe.